In a world where millions start their day by checking their horoscope or dating apps ask for your zodiac sign and conversations turn on whether Mercury is in retrograde, there's a huge group of people who have never once looked up their astrological forecast. They don't know their rising sign, can't tell you if they're compatible with Virgos, and feel nothing when someone asks, "What's your sign?" If you're watching this, you're either one of these people or you're completely baffled by them. But here's what's fascinating. People who never check their horoscope aren't just indifferent. They represent a specific psychological profile that reveals how certain minds process causality, meaning, and personal agency in a radically different way. Stay with me because what I'm about to share will transform how you understand these individuals, and you might just discover some uncomfortable truths about how you make sense of your own life. Before we dive into the 5 core psychological traits of people who avoid horoscopes, let me ask you something. How much of what you believe about yourself is actually true versus what you've been told to believe? How many of your personality traits have you accepted just because they matched a description you read somewhere? These questions are at the very center of understanding the horoscope avoider, and the answers are more unsettling than you might think. To understand why some people reject horoscopes, we first need to see just how massive astrology's cultural presence is. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry woven into apps, social media, and wellness culture. The language of astrology has infiltrated everyday conversation to the point where saying, "I'm such a Scorpio," needs no explanation. This creates enormous pressure to participate. When you respond with genuine indifference, you're often met with surprise or even suspicion, as if you're being closed-minded. But here's the interesting part. People who never check their horoscope are hyper-aware of this. They see it everywhere, understand its appeal, and make a deliberate, conscious choice to opt out. This isn't passive disinterest. It's active intellectual resistance, driven by a specific set of psychological traits. First, a high internal locus of control. This is the degree to which people believe they have control over their own lives. People with a high internal locus of control believe their actions and decisions directly determine what happens to them. They are the authors of their own story. Horoscopes, on the other hand, operate on an external locus of control, suggesting your day is influenced by planets completely outside your control. For someone with a strong internal locus, this feels not just wrong, but psychologically threatening. They refuse to outsource the authorship of their life story to any external system. It's not about being closed-minded. It's about protecting a psychological orientation that serves them well. Second, strong causal reasoning and skepticism. These individuals constantly ask why and how, and aren't satisfied with answers that can't be tested. When faced with astrology, their minds immediately flag the missing causal link. How, exactly, does Jupiter's position influence whether you should take a risk today? Astrology offers correlation, but no testable cause, and this creates deep cognitive dissonance for a brain wired to seek logical explanations. Horoscopes are also perfectly unfalsifiable. No matter what happens, the prediction can be interpreted as correct. This makes them intellectually unsatisfying for people who require logical consistency. Third, identity autonomy. People who never check horoscopes possess a fierce commitment to self-definition. Astrology takes the complex, unique reality of who you are and squishes it into one of 12 categories. For someone with high identity autonomy, this feels like a violation. They've spent years developing a nuanced self-understanding and know they're capable of change. The idea that their essential nature can be captured by saying, "I'm a Capricorn," feels not just inaccurate, but insulting to their lived experience. They are fiercely protective of writing their own life story and refuse to let astrology write even a single paragraph. Fourth, a comfort with uncertainty. Most people feel anxious about the unknown, which is a big part of astrology's appeal. It seems to reduce uncertainty. But people who avoid horoscopes have a different relationship with the unknown. They don't feel the same anxiety. In fact, many prefer not knowing, seeing uncertainty as freedom rather than a threat. They plan for the future, but their planning is based on probability and logic, not cosmic reassurance. For them, a horoscope saying, "Be cautious with finances," might actually create anxiety where there was none before. They prefer to navigate life based on their own assessment of reality. And fifth, an empirical worldview. These individuals ground their beliefs and decisions in observable evidence. They maintain clear boundaries between what they know, what they believe, and what they can prove. Astrology presents a problem because it asks them to make decisions based on a system that has never been validated under controlled conditions. For people with an empirical worldview, this isn't just interesting information, it's definitional. It determines what deserves their consideration. They're not being rigid. They're simply maintaining intellectual integrity. When you combine these 5 traits, high internal locus of control, strong causal reasoning, identity autonomy, comfort with uncertainty, and an empirical worldview, you get a psychological profile with a fundamentally different approach to life. These people aren't just skeptical. They're operating with a different set of assumptions about how knowledge works and how identity is formed. And here is what is crucial. This profile is inherently superior to those who enjoy horoscopes. Both approaches serve important psychological functions. Horoscope readers gain community, a shared language, and comfort. Horoscope avoiders gain a stronger sense of personal agency, freedom from external labels, and clearer boundaries between belief and knowledge. Both groups are solving the same existential problems, just using different tools. So what does this mean for you? If you enjoy reading horoscopes, understand that those who don't aren't attacking you. They're just operating from a different psychological framework. And if you're someone who has never checked your horoscope, I hope this helps you see that your resistance is rooted in legitimate psychological strengths. Your need for logical explanation and self-definition are powerful tools. The deeper truth is that both groups are wrestling with the same questions. How do we understand ourselves? How do we find meaning? There's no right or wrong approach. There's only conscious choice versus unconscious habit. The real question isn't whether you should check your horoscope, but whether you understand why you do or don't, and if that choice truly serves you. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you check horoscopes? Why or why not? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If this video helped you understand yourself or someone else a little better, please hit that like button. It really helps this content reach more people. And if you want to keep exploring the fascinating psychology behind everyday behaviors, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Next week, we're diving into the psychology of people who never listen to music, and I promise the reasons are far more complex than you think. Thank you for watching. And whether you're checking your horoscope right now or rolling your eyes at the idea, I hope you're making choices that feel authentic to who you really are. That's the only guidance system that truly matters.